Have you ever looked up at the night sky and wondered, what's the closest planet to Earth on average? Today we'll crack that cosmic code, along with uncovering the shocking truth about Voyager 1. Get ready for a fact-filled adventure. Launched by NASA on September 5, 1977, Voyager 1 has been traversing the cosmos for an astounding 47 years. Despite its impressive longevity, a glitch arose in November 2023, causing the spacecraft to stop transmitting readable scientific and engineering data. The resourceful engineering team pinpointed a malfunctioning chip. However, at a distance of 24.3 billion kilometers or 15.1 billion miles, physically repairing the chip was impossible. The radio signal takes about 22.5 hours to reach Voyager 1. In a remarkable feat of software engineering, the team devised a solution. That chip was holding an important piece of software, so they moved the affected code into sections and store those sections in different places. On April 20th, NASA received the first health and status data from Voyager 1 in 5 months. This achievement underscores the power of human ingenuity. Science truly rocks. Frilled shark gets its name from the frilled arrangement of its 300 teeth, which allows it to trap squid, fish, and other sharks in sudden lunges. He is a deep-sea dweller, that's why it's rare to see him. As a living fossil, the frilled shark's anatomy resembles sharks that lived millions of years ago. They have a long, slender body with an elongated snout and rows of needle-like teeth. This primitive body plan provides scientists with clues about how sharks evolved. Frilled sharks may have the longest gestation period of any vertebrate, with estimates ranging from 3.5 to 7 years. This incredibly long gestation period is likely an adaptation to the harsh environment where they live, where food sources may be scarce. Richard Milhous Nixon is the person who has featured the most times on the cover of Time. He made 55 appearances from 1952 up to his death in 1994. Rice does not need to grow in water, but since it can survive it, is done so to control weeds and other pests and create higher yields. Owls do not have eyeballs. Rather, they have tubular eyes and are unable to move them. This is the same reason they can move their heads 270 degrees to compensate for that limitation. A group of owls is called a parliament. The word parliament itself implies a gathering for discussion and deliberation, which aligns with the image of wise owls. Alligators are native only to the United States and China. South Florida is the only place in the world where alligators and crocodiles coexist naturally, more specifically in the Everglades National Park. Scientists didn't discover a single male blanket octopus until 2002 because they were looking at the wrong magnitude. Females can be up to 40,000 times more massive than males. That's one of the largest size differences between males and females, called sexual size dimorphism, in the animal kingdom. There was a time millions of years ago called the Carboniferous period, where trees would die but not decompose. At this time, the planet had yet to host large terrestrial herbivores or fungi that were particularly adept at digesting wood. As a result, dead trees simply lay where they fell, without decomposing efficiently, and they were eventually buried by subsequent vegetation. With nothing to make them decay, their remains were free to pile up and yield thick coal deposits. Mammalian evolution has been fundamentally driven by viruses and bacteria. Not only do small increments of genetic information contribute to evolution, but also do major events such as infection by viruses or bacteria, which can supply new genetic information to a host by horizontal gene transfer. Thereby, viruses and bacteria's elements act as major drivers of evolution. An octopus and a cat may seem worlds apart, but their eyes, despite their different structures, tell a fascinating story of convergent evolution. This process describes how unrelated organisms independently develop similar traits to adapt to their environments. In this case, both the octopus and the cat have evolved complex camera-like eyes for vision, even though the underlying structures of their eyes are quite distinct. One of the largest bats in the world, the golden-capped fruit bat, with a wingspan of 5.6 feet, does not possess echolocation. It instead relies on its keen senses of sight and smell to locate food, usually traveling more than 25 miles for it. The species is now facing extinction. Back to our initial question. What's on average the closest planet to Earth? Venus? No, Mercury is on average the closest planet to Earth. The answer to this apparent misconception is the fact that Mercury's orbit is the smallest in our solar system, leading to it staying closer to the Sun, and thus Earth, for a larger portion of its journey. The average distance between Earth and Mercury is 1.04 astronomical units compared to Venus, which is 1.14 astronomical units. NASA has two satellites chasing each other around the Earth, tracking the distance between themselves to measure gravitational anomalies, like Tom and Jerry, although their real names are Grace and Grace Foe, which wouldn't exactly win any nickname contests. In some anglerfish species, the male anglerfish breed by attaching itself to the bottom of the female and never releases from his mate again, feeding from her blood and becoming little more than a sperm factory. The male can measure as much as 0.03 inches or 0.8 mm. Apples belong to the Rosaceae family. Globally, close to 84 million metric tons of apples are produced. The origin of apples can be traced back to Kazakhstan. The wild ancestor of today's apples, a small sour crab apple called Malus sieversii, is native to the Tian Shan Mountains in modern-day Kazakhstan. These wild apple trees still grow in the forest there today. Russian scientist Nikolai Vavilov first identified Kazakhstan as the center of origin for apples through genetic analysis in 1929. Even the name hints at it. The name of Kazakhstan's largest city, Almaty, formerly Alma-Ata, translates from the Kazakh language to full of apples. The brain corals live for up to 900 years. Sea coral is not only an animal, but it is a mound of thousands of tiny animals called polyps that have their own mouth and tentacles. A coral polyp is an invertebrate that can be no bigger than a pinhead to up to a foot in diameter. A group of porcupines is called a prickle. Don't forget to subscribe. Unlike you and me, most lizards face a challenge when they need a burst of speed. They can't breathe and run simultaneously. Why? Because they use the same chest muscles for both actions. To scamper forward, they contract these muscles in a specific sequence, but breathing requires a different contraction pattern. This means they have to hold their breath for short sprints, essentially. This limitation often leads to lizards tiring quickly. They can only manage a short burst before their muscles become overloaded. Recovering from this energy debt takes them a significant amount of time, often hours. China leads the world in potato production with 25% of the world's total. The introduction of the potato was responsible for a quarter of the population growth in Europe from 1750 to 1900. Flowers didn't exist until dinosaurs and mammals were already roaming the earth. Jellyfish live in every ocean and have survived 5 mass extinctions for possibly 700 million years or more, despite most of them lacking specialized digestive, osmoregulatory, central nervous, respiratory, or circulatory systems. The pancreas plays a key role in blood sugar control. It produces two hormones, insulin and glucagon, that work together to keep your blood sugar levels in a healthy range. Imagine your blood sugar like a roller coaster after a meal. It spikes high. That's when insulin kicks in, acting like a helpful friend, ushering the sugar out of your bloodstream and into your cells for energy. But what if the sugar dips too low? Glucagon, another pancreatic hormone, steps up. It tells your liver to release stored sugar, bringing your blood sugar levels back up. While insulin is a superstar, the pancreas does more than just sugar control. It also produces digestive enzymes that help break down your food for better nutrient absorption. The pancreas also produces a special substance called bicarbonate. This acts like baking soda, neutralizing the stomach's strong acid as food moves into the intestine, creating a more balanced environment for digestion. Pancreatic cancer is a serious illness. It has a high mortality rate, meaning a large percentage of people diagnosed don't survive. Early detection is crucial for pancreatic cancer treatment. Unfortunately, symptoms often appear late in the disease, making early diagnosis challenging. There's a condition in which people become blind but deny their blindness. The brain creates false perceptions to fill in for the lack of sight. It's called the Anton-Babinski syndrome. Whoa! That was a wild ride through some incredible facts, wasn't it? Your brain must be buzzing with knowledge. If you enjoyed learning all this cool trivia, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe for even more mind-blowing content. Got any mind-blowing facts of your own? Share them in the comments below and let's blow each other's minds away. Thanks for watching.